Okay, hello everyone. I am Wonu Lee from MDRX. Today I will briefly discuss about the new Korean legislation, Digital Medical Products Act. After a short introduction about MDRX, I will go over the relations of Digital Medical Products Act with other laws, explain the actual structure of the new act, then discuss the relevant government authorities, and lastly, highlight some considerations in reimbursement listing upon the act's upcoming enforcement. So MDRX, we are a Korea-based boutique medical device consulting firm providing a one-stop solution for medical device and digital health companies. We provide inbound and outbound services, and our service area ranges from market research to strategy buildup for market entry, product approval, KGMP certification, reimbursement listing, new health technology assessment, and innovative device and technology determination. We also support clinical trials with collaborations with our partner CROs and provide Korea license holding services for foreign manufacturers as they require a legal importer to commercialize their products in Korea. We also support international market expansions in, for example, Japan, EU, the US, Taiwan, Thailand, etc. Just to highlight some of our experiences, we have successfully provided our service to medical device and digital health companies concerning various classes and types of medical devices, including AI, SAMT, balloon catheters, robotics, 3D printed devices, DTX, etc. So if you have any questions or require consultation regarding Korean market entry, please feel free to contact us at the email provided below. So allow me to describe the relations of Digital Medical Products Act with other laws. Because the Digital Medical Product Act is a newly enacted legislation, it is important to understand its relations with other existing statutes. Existing legislations include, in large, the Medical Devices Act and the Pharmaceutical Affairs Act, but also In Vitro Diagnostic Medical Device Act and the Act on the Safety of and Support for Advanced Regenerative Medicine and Advanced Biological Products, in short, Advanced Biologics Act. Just as a background, as shown on the slide, the In Vitro Diagnostic Medical Device Act lies within the Medical Devices Act. This is because in the past, in vitro diagnostic medical devices used to be regulated in accordance with the Medical Devices Act. With the introduction of the In Vitro Diagnostic Medical Device Act in 2020, pre-management matters such as product approval started being regulated under the In Vitro Diagnostic Medical Device Act. But for post-management matters such as recalls, administrative fines, reporting adverse events, etc., the Act also refers to the Medical Devices Act. This is also the case with the Pharmaceutical Affairs Act with the introduction of the Advanced Biologics Act. Now, in recent years, there have been a lot of advancements in medical products with IT, AI, robotics capabilities, and attempts to regulate such devices under the existing legislations cause clashes and confusion. It can be said that the Digital Medical Products Act was introduced to resolve such issues and confusions, and also to bring into law some matters that were previously covered under guidelines. The Digital Medical Products Act pertains to three product groups, namely digital medical devices, digital combination products, and digital medical and health support devices. Medical devices applying digital technology are currently regulated in accordance with the Medical Devices Act. And in the same manner, pharmaceutical products applying digital technology are currently being approved in accordance with the Pharmaceutical Affairs Act. And lastly, digital medical and health support devices or wellness products are currently considered as industrial products without any specific law to regulate the products. However, starting from January 24th of next year, upon enforcement of the Act, all three types of products will be managed primarily by the Digital Medical Products Act. The Digital Medical Products Act provides definitions for the three product groups. Understanding their different definitions is important because a product using a digital technology may still need to be approved and regulated under an existing legislation if it falls outside the scope of provided in the new act. The digital medical device is defined as medical devices, including in vitro diagnostic medical devices and digital medical health support devices that use digital technology such as AI, robotics, and ICT technology. Also, such devices must have the purpose of either diagnosing, treating, or observing the prognosis of a disease, predicting the treatment response and treatment results, monitoring the treatment effect or adverse effects, or product designated by MFDS used for assisting rehabilitation. In other words, if a product is designed to be used for one of these purposes and uses cutting edge technology, such as AI or robotics, it would be classified as a digital medical device and will be regulated under this new act. Digital combination product is is defined as a pharmaceutical product, including advanced biological products, combined with a digital medical device or digital medical health support device. This, however, excludes devices where main function is that of a digital medical device. For example, DTX that replaces drugs would be considered digital medical device. But if the DTX supplements or supports drugs, it would be considered as a digital combination product. And lastly, digital medical and health support device is defined as a product that is not classified as a digital medical device, but applies digital technology to monitor, measure, collect, and analyze biosignals for the purpose of supporting medical care or maintaining or improving health, or to record and analyze lifestyle habits to provide health management information such as dietary and workout recommendations. So the Digital Medical Products Act regulates these three types of products, namely digital medical devices would include AI or VR-based medical devices or robotic surgical devices. Digital combination products would include digestible sensors that monitors in real time the patient's drug intake, or ingestible robot that can release drugs at a specific area, unlike oral or injectable drugs. Digital medical and health support devices would include smartwatches or wellness apps. Structure of the Digital Medical Products Act. The Digital Medical Products Act provides requirements specific to these three types of products. The requirement for digital medical devices can largely be divided into those that apply to all digital medical devices and those specific to standalone software. So for example, robotic devices that have embedded software in the hardware, so SIMD, would only be subject to the requirements at the top. The digital medical software, or SAMD, would be subject to additional requirements on the bottom as well as the ones on the top. So companies that manufacture or import digital medical devices would currently obtain such business license under the Medical Devices Act, but they will have to do so under Digital Medical Products Act once it goes into effect. Of course, a conventional medical device company will still be required to apply for the relevant business licenses under the Medical Devices Act. But if they decide to handle digital medical devices, they would also be required to obtain a business license and product licenses under the new act. IDE and clinical trial plans must be approved, and change approvals must also be conducted in accordance with this act. And the act introduces several additional compliance requirements, including cybersecurity, et cetera. It also introduced requirements for real-world evaluation, which was only previously covered under the MFDS guidelines and practically impossible to collect real-world data. And also a certification system for excellent management, which has been benchmarked on the US FDA's pre-cert pilot program. Because the excellent management certification process goes beyond the scope of GMP certification, a company with the excellent management certification would be deemed to have a GMP certification. Lastly, the Act states that the companies that intend on repairing, distributing, or leasing digital medical devices would need to adhere to the relevant sections of the Medical Devices Act. For digital medical device software, referring to SAMD, they will still have to adhere to all the requirements at the top as well as further requirements in the bottom. The Act introduces the concept of professional use designation for SAMD, where they will have to be managed separately. In this regard, if the SAMD is designated as professional use only, distribution and advertising to general public is not permitted, and it must disclose that it is for professional use only. Matters concerning label and advertising for software and medical devices are currently regulated with guidelines under the Medical Devices Act, but these will now be brought into statute. Determination of conformity to quality management standards, which was previously conducted via on-site and desk audits, will now for software only be required for desk audit, and a clear standard for the audit will be provided. And because an on-site audit will not be conducted for the software, the Act allows for MFDS to periodically conduct verification investigation on the conformity. The Act also allows for third-party delegation for maintenance and management of the software, and it includes a special provision for standalone digital medical software to allow distribution without a distribution license. Also, such standalone digital medical software will be exempt from certain requirements under the Medical Devices Act, which I will list up at a few later slides. For matters not covered in the Act, such as post-management matters, it will be understood that Medical Device Act will still apply. The requirements for digital combination products also includes the business and product licenses, as well as OEM permits, which all have been previously regulated under the Pharmaceutical Affairs Act. It also mirrors the requirements from the digital medical device part concerning the defense protocol against cyber issues. Again, for matters not covered in the Act, such as post-management matters, it will be understood that Pharmaceutical Affairs Act will apply. For digital medical and health support devices, the Act doesn't require a business license and recommends for the manufacturer or importer to register the product. This is not a mandatory requirement, but rather a recommendation. The MFDS performance certification is also a recommendation. However, the Act requires that MFDS to conduct distribution management for digital medical and health support devices. What this means is that the MFDS must conduct collection inspections of wellness products on the market, regardless of whether the product has been registered or not. And if the product fails inspection, the MFDS can order for recall, disposal, or cessation of sales. Lastly, the last part concerns all digital medical products. The Act provides for the MFDS to conduct impact assessments regarding the digital medical products and may request MOHW for reimbursement. It allows for pre-reviews to be conducted for digital medical products. Performance evaluation on components of digital medical products has been introduced, and this is similar to a Drug Master File for pharmaceuticals. I will discuss the highlighted items further in later slides. The Act also provides support through education and publicity regarding production development and IP protection. And the Act allows for establishment of an association subject to MFDS approval, as well as third-party delegation of certification, assessment, approval tasks. These would be the general requirements under the Digital Medical Products Act. One thing to note is that the Act stipulates that business licenses and product licenses obtained in accordance with the existing acts prior to the enforcement of the Digital Medical Products Act shall be deemed to have obtained the said license under the new Act. This means that duly acquired business licenses and product approvals, etc., obtained before January 24, 2025 will continue to be valid after. However, future applications for business licenses and product approvals must be made in accordance with the appropriate laws. If I may take a step back and explain how the Korean laws and regulations are structured, the Digital Medical Products Act is the legislation that provides the basic structures outlining the purpose of the Act, definitions, and all the matters discussed in the previous slides. Under this is the enforcement decree, also called the presidential decree. This provides certain details about how the Act is to be enforced, such as details about advertising matters for the software for professional use, also details concerning facility requirements for manufacturing, importing businesses of digital medical products, details concerning management of appointed institutions for approvals and certifications, and also details concerning administrative fines. And below this, there are enforcement rules or Prime Minister ordinance that provide all the other enforcement details regarding the Act. These include the following on the slide. I'll move on. And under the enforcement rules, you'll normally find rules related to administrative process and rules related to standards. The rules related to administrative process is currently being developed and has not yet been open to public. And currently there are no rules related to standards with regards to Digital Medical Products Act. However, matters not covered in the Digital Medical Products Act is understood to refer to Medical Devices Act. So we can expect that Article 19's standard specification of the Medical Devices Act would apply here. Moreover, we expect the standards concerning the performance certification of digital medical and health support devices would be developed in the future. And I will introduce the relevant government authorities. The Ministry of Food and Drug Safety is the administrative and monitoring authority on the medical devices. Accordingly, the Digital Medical Products Act will also be managed by the Medical Device Safety Bureau. Under this bureau, there are currently 5 divisions, and within the Medical Device Policy Division in red, they formed a task force to draft the Digital Medical Products Act, the Act, as well as the enforcement decree, etc. And they're currently drafting the rules related to the administrative processes. It is possible for this task force to break off into a separate division in the future. And the Medical Device Approval Division in blue is expected to oversee the product approvals, clinical trial plan approvals, etc., for the digital medical products. And the National Institute of Food and Drug Safety Evaluation is the evaluation body concerning the medical devices. And under the Medical Device Evaluation Department of the NIFDS, the Digital Health Device Division currently oversees the technical document reviews for digital health devices such as AI, DTX, wearable medical devices, etc. We expect this division to also oversee technical document reviews for digital medical products once the act is enforced. However, there is a possibility that a new dedicated division will be formed to conduct this task. Uh, in discussing the consideration and reimbursement listing upon enforcement of the Digital Medical Products Act, I want to focus on the following 4 points. The first item is the real-world evaluation. The Digital Medical Product Act brought in real-world evaluation into law, which was technically already available through various guidelines under the Medical Devices Act. In Article 15 of the Digital Medical Products Act, it is described that the safety and effectiveness of the digital medical devices can be evaluated based on information collected or generated in the process of real-world use of digital medical devices. Paragraph 2, which is important, manufacturers who intend to collect real-world data may provide the subject devices to medical professionals, despite the rebate ban in Article 13, Paragraph 3 of the Medical Devices Act, to conduct real-world evaluation within the scope prescribed by the enforcement rule. In other words, the Medical Device Act prohibits providing economic benefits to medical professionals for the purpose of promoting sales, and this new act created an exception to the prohibition, allowing products to be provided for free or at a discount for the purpose of real-world evaluation. Since the manufacturers are providing the digital medical devices to the medical professionals for free, they are able to request the medical professionals to view or provide copies of the usage records to gather real-world data. This act also provides for MFDS to use the real-world evaluation results for product approvals or change approvals, and stipulates that the detail will be determined by the enforcement rules with regards to subject devices and procedure of the evaluation, as well as methods and procedures for accessing the real-world data. So if we look at the corresponding enforcement rules, it stipulates the subject's permitted scope for the real-world evaluation. This includes all licensed products within the scope of the product approval, also used within the scope of the change management plan submitted at the time of the product approval, and also includes off-label use as long as there's a medical professional responsible, or when it is expected to be more cost-effective, have fewer side effects, or have higher clinical effects than an alternative device. To conduct a real-world evaluation, the real-world evaluation plan must be approved in advance by the MFDS. And for this, one must submit documents detailing the types, source, collection methods, etc., regarding the real-world data and product information, and information regarding the performance agency, as well as matters related to the plan, performance, and results analysis required for the evaluation. It is important to note that such data can also be used to appraise a relative value unit of treatment materials under the National Health Insurance Act, as well as reimbursement consideration. So we can expect a wider usage of real-world data in the future. With regards to the access of real-world data, the enforcement rule states that medical professionals can allow access to the real-world data by pseudonymizing them or provide copies of the data in accordance with the Personal Information Protection Act, meaning either obtain patient's consent or pseudonymizing the data. And in fact, the ownership of the real world data belongs to the medical institutions. For example, MRI information and CT information in medical institutions are images taken through CT or MRI devices purchased by the medical institutions themselves. And the images are analyzed and annotated with medical knowledge, which are then stored electronically. Therefore, it can be considered that the ownership of the information is with various medical institutions in accordance with the Medical Service Act. Article 19 of the Medical Service Act explicitly states that unless expressly provided for in a statute, personal information obtained while performing medical treatment cannot be divulged or disclosed. And in Article 21, details of patient records can only be inspected by or provided to the patient's family or government authorities upon request. Because of this general principle, despite MFDS and HERA's attempt to make available real-world evaluations through guidelines, the medical institutions could not make available the necessary information. The only exception to this was through human subject research in accordance with the Bioethics and Safety Act and/or through MFDS-approved clinical trials in accordance with the Medical Devices Act. These human subject research and clinical trials require IBC approvals, IDE approval, and/or medical institutions IRB approval, which are all very strictly reviewed and only permitted for very specific uses. Because real-world evaluation is expressly provided in expressly provided for in a statute, real-world data will become more readily available for digital medical devices, so long as the real-world evaluation is conducted within the scope permitted by the MFDS. So what this means in practice, once the real-world evaluation plan has been approved by the MFDS, medical institutions may generate real-world data and provide them to the company. The original data can be provided to with the patient's consent in accordance with the Personal Information Protection Act. But if there's no consent, the data must go through the data review board of the medical institution. The DRB reviews and ensures that the personal information has been properly pseudonymized. This means that after providing the product for free or at a discount to the medical institution, the company can in return request to access the real world data, such as medical records and reimbursement claim records. Also, the IRB review, et cetera, would not be required for real world data collection. And this is significant because IRB reviews are only generally available in general hospitals. So this exemption of IRB reviews allows for real world data collection from hospitals to clinic level medical institutions. This also facilitates the creation of supporting materials to be used for reimbursement criteria determination and market feasibility assessment concerning the medical technology, and also for relative value unit adjustment applications. This would also facilitate collection of data related to innovativeness and technological improvements to be used for value appraisal of medical materials. Next, I would like to discuss the designation of digital medical device software for professional use. This is essentially the OTC and ETC's categorization of pharmaceuticals applied to SAMD. This professional use designation would be the ETC equivalent. For example, DTX that require prescription from a doctor would fall under this category. The enforcement rule provides that digital medical device software may be designated as professional use only when it is deemed necessary by the Minister of MFDS in consideration of the purpose of use, performance, etc. The designated software will be separately managed and will where the product information and the scope of professionals permitted for use will be specified. In this regard, if the SAMD is determined as professional use only, selling or leasing them is only permitted by the professionals within the scope, and advertising is not permitted to the general public. It also stipulates that Minister of MFDS may notify such designation to MOHW and HERA. So when MFDS notifies MOHW and HERA, they will have a lot of information available to them about the SAMD, including the purpose of use and performance and intended user. And they're expected to reference these materials when determining the medical practice definitions and reimbursement criteria as well. Moreover, considering how some ETC drugs are reimbursed by the National Health Insurance, it may be possible for some SAMD designated for professional use to be listed for reimbursement in the future. This slide details the this applies to all SAMD, not for the professional use. It lists up the certain requirements under the Medical Devices Act that do not apply to standalone digital medical devices. And a lot of it is for practical reasons. Next, in Article 40 of the Act introduces the performance evaluation on components. This is significant because this is comparable to the drug master file for pharmaceuticals. And so once a performance evaluation is conducted on a component, such as an API, sensor, or AI algorithm, then if the digital medical product uses this component, the evidence for the component will be exempt during the product's approval process. This is quite significant because so this chart demonstrates the 4 assessment stages for all medical devices in Korea. To briefly explain, in the first stage in yellow, the product's safety and efficacy will be assessed by the MFDS, and all the following stages in blue, the technology or the procedure that the medical device will be used for is assessed. And in the second stage, HERA assesses to determine if it is an existing technology based on its target, purpose, and method. Currently, in the second stage, where many AI-based medical devices are deemed to have a different method when they assess the target, purpose, or method. And this causes them to have to list for reimbursement on a product-by-product basis and not by the medical act or technology. However, once the component can be registered, we expect significant changes in paradigm in the second stage. For example, AI products and SAMs provide B2H services, often using cloud or an on-premise type servers. However, we expect a shift to B2B when the components of a digital medical product such as API start being registered. This is basically this is significant because it changes the dynamic of how the because this is a software, it has intangible characteristics, and it allows for this one software to call upon another software by value or by reference to utilize its functions. And this we expect to have a big impact on the industry as a whole. The last item is the impact assessment and reimbursement request. The Article 37 of the Act states that the MFDS may conduct impact assessment and impact assessment and of the usage and spread digital medical device products on society, economy, culture, and the national health. And the Minister of MOHW may request MFDS to provide the results from such impact assessments. And yeah, based on the impact assessment results, the MFDS may request the MOHW for an expedited review for the reimbursement where a digital medical device is deemed necessary for rapid use to improve public health. And the MOHW has to comply with the request unless there is a special reason not to do so. This is significant because this allows for MFDS to have some influence in the reimbursement process through impact assessments. This concludes my presentation regarding the Digital Medical Products Act and the 4 possible considerations in the reimbursement listing. We expect the administrative rule to be announced in the near future to give more clarity, and I would like to highlight the importance of staying tuned to its development. Thank you for your time and attention.